Hello everybody and welcome back for episode 153 of the Sounds of Stadia Podcast, your longest running Stadia podcast in the world, where we get together and round up all of the Stadia and cloud gaming news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/Helix Cloud Games and up there in the digital clouds on your podcast preference of choice. You join us this week for another fantastic show as we break down all of the Gamescom news, exciting new game announcements, pro games for September, expansions, DLC, rated titles, and much, much more. But before we do get into all that, don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the Helix Cloud Games content we do here on the channel, like our first looks, our live streams, our PlayStation podcast, Talking the PS, our CloudQuest Cloud Gaming podcast that goes up, and all the other great content. If you are a like-minded gamer like myself and my lovely co-host, join us in the Discord as well. You can join. Link is in the description below. Bunch of amazing folks in there talking about all things video games. And it's a great time. You should come and join us. But before we do get into all the show, I can't continue without introducing my man of many pixels, Mr. Richie. Welcome to the show once again.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. How are you? It's
I'm
a nice
good.
bank holiday weekend, and I took the Friday off. So, by the time you listen to this, I'm already off, but this will be my fourth day off in a row.
Oh,
which is quite nice.
Fourth day off in a row. Who doesn't love a little mini long weekend? Because I certainly do. Hopefully we get some nice weather, Richie. Any major plans, or are we just gaming all weekend long?
Just gaming all weekend long.
That's a pretty good weekend.
Hitting the gym, a few podcasts to record, and a bit of gaming. Just keep it. I just wanted a nice quiet one. Nice bit of
Nice quiet
downtime,
weekend.
yeah.
Good. Hope everyone out there viewing and listening is having a great weekend as well, or had a great weekend, we should probably say. But there's plenty of gaming conversation to be had ahead, and you can get some of our content extra early. If you want to support us two lovely gentlemen and the rest of the folks over here at Helix Cloud Games, you can become a member, a Helix hero, in fact, by clicking join below, where over 50 of you support us. It really does mean a lot. If you are obviously enjoying our content, it's a nice little way of you showing us that you appreciate us that little bit more. But we do a terrible job at promoting the Helix Hero thing and all of our additional content we do. We try and use Facebook and Instagram, but I think we're just too old, Richie, to get that kind of stuff. So we rely on you guys, rating us, clicking
I'm
like.
going to straight up admit that I just don't use Instagram.
I do for videos, but I don't actually do much on it. But I play games. I spend my time playing video games because that's what we're here for. And as I mentioned, we've got a fantastic show lined up for episode number 153. But we can't kickstart that off, Richie, until you do us the honours of introducing us to the
super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka the news.
Once again, the news for the 153rd time. Crazy busy week. Last week on the channel, we tuned in to watch opening night live from Gamescom with the one and only Jeff Keighley, and we didn't really have any high hopes for Stadia's involvement that much as we've been conditioned to over the last 2.5 years. But we did have some pleasant surprises.
Yeah, I think I may have straight up predicted that there wouldn't be anything there, or at least nothing announced.
Yeah, at the end of
formally.
At the end of last week's episode, I think I said two Stadia logos.
Yeah.
I was banking on a Ubisoft thing of some kind and something else, and we'll get into Gamescom, we'll break it all down, but the kind of biggest news before we get into the actual games revealed at Gamescom, because some of them could be coming, that's the reality of it all, is we just don't know.
That's kind of where I thought it was going to be. Like, we're not going to hear for certain anything's coming, but they could come.
Speculation and rumours. But yes, so the biggest story to come of it, no doubt if you're a Stadia fan, if you follow us over on Twitter at Helix Cloud Games, you've probably seen it already. The biggest announcement for Stadia players out there to come off the back of the multitude of announcements and trailers and reveals was, in fact, Dead Island 2 is not dead. It's returned from the grave after, I feel like 8 years, I want to say, Rich. I think 2014 it was first revealed. So it's been confirmed. Dead Island 2, they had a showcase trailer just to wrap out Gamescom opening night live. And it's real. It showcased some gameplay. It showcased a little story trailer of a gentleman in a penthouse suite, just basically heading out for some drugs and drinks and food, and killing loads of zombies along the way with a nice music beat to go along with it. And the game is set to reveal, the release, I should say, is set for February the 3rd, 2023. So Stadia lives on for another year, which we knew anyway, because I think what Ubisoft title got pushed back to next year? Why can't I think of it? Avatar, that's it, yes. Frontiers of Pandora was slated for this winter, we thought, coming next year instead. So it lives on. Exciting stuff. Dead Island obviously came out, the original one, so many years ago. I played it very, very briefly on, I want to say, PlayStation 3. My brother played more of it than I did. I remember watching quite a bit of it. I actually think I started my own campaign, did one of those unfortunate things where I think I played about 2 or 3 hours in one night, and the next day there was no file save when I went. So, immediately you're kind of like, do I want to go and do that whole tutorial area again and get my key weapons and do all that? Or do I just move on to something else at the time? I think like Arkham, what was out in 2014? Arkham City, maybe? Uncharted, something or other. But either way, Richie, what's your history with Dead Island?
Absolutely no history with it. I knew of it when it came out. I never played it at the time. And so yeah, this is one of them games. Like, I'm glad it's coming to Stadia, but I really don't know what I feel about it. Other than, yes, I'm glad it's a game coming to Stadia. That's always good for Stadia. I'm guessing it's going to be fun. But I don't really know that much in terms of what the gameplay is. Is it kind of like Left 4 Dead?
So it's first person, and essentially the spiritual successor to Dead Island was Dying Light. So it's that kind of first person, frenetic, running around, nice environments, and basically just surviving with a very loose story kind of tinge throughout it. Obviously, this one has been in development for that long. I think the developers actually did come out and say it's basically a brand new game now, built on the skeleton of the original.
Yeah, I think they straight up said like the initial like Dead Island 2, what the plans were, basically scrapped and they started again. So when we say it's been in development for 8 years, it's more actually like it's been in development for 3.
Yeah, that seems more.
There was just another game called Dead Island 2 at some point in time that was getting developed.
Absolutely, and it's fun. It's one of those games that it's not intended to be taken seriously. At the end of the day, it's surrounded in zombies and crazy weapons and stuff. It actually takes a lot of DNA probably from the Saints Row series, which we're going to talk about later on in this particular episode. But yeah, obviously it's more famous, I would say, for that trailer that the Goat Simulator 3 mocked at the Game Awards with the guy running down the Sunset Boulevard. And it's actually real now. It's been in development. It's at Deep Silver Dambuster Studios, of course, part of the Embracer Group, and its publisher is Play On, formerly known as Koch Media, or Coach Media. But yeah, we got our reveal at the Gamescom opening night live. A bit of excitement for those Stadia fans out there, of course. And do not get too carried away in it. The thing that still bugs me, Richie, is the treatment.
It's not called God Simulator 3.
No.
It's called God Simulator.
The treatment of the logos still. So it was on the main reveal trailer. Immediately after, obviously, I headed over to the website to see if there was any pre-order options. Not that I would pre-order it, but just to see if there's any more detail. No Stadia logo on the website, on the main pre-order page. If you scroll right down to the actual, like the bottom of the page, where they have all like the copyright information, Stadia is listed down there, but it's not on any of the releasement or announcements. And even the trailer from PlayOn, if you go to PlayOn's YouTube channel, the trailer on there has it omitted. And it's just kind of like it basically looks like they've just airbrushed or taken out the Stadia and the Amazon, like just, again, for all context, the Amazon Alexa voice command logo as well. And they haven't even moved the logo assets closer, so there's just an obvious gap where the Stadia and Amazon Echo, whatever logo was. It's just, again, I don't understand how it's not on. Like, if you're promoting the product, if the product is coming, whether it's confirmed for the same date or not, why put it out there on some things? It's again, one of my bugbears is we'll probably get a blog post next week or the week after, won't even acknowledge the game exists or that it's confirmed to be coming.
Yeah, I mean, at the time of recording, it is still listed. The Stadia logo is there on the IGN's website. Mm-hmm. I just checked while we were talking, just so as far as big game publishers are aware that this game is coming to Stadia, despite the completely pointless confusion. Like someone's actually had to edit the trailer to remove these logos. but why?
Yeah, who's making that call to remove them from the source material?
You have to think about the timeline. Like, we watching opening night live. It was there.
Yeah,
it was there. And then on the YouTube channel, that the Games Award YouTube channel that we were watching, the trailer was posted, and it wasn't. It's like that trailer was prepped to go when that launch happened. Like, that's probably been sat on that YouTube channel on private for days, just scheduled for the release after like the show. So I was like, what? So this was done before the show? That's the only way I can think of it. The editing of that was done before the show, not after. And it's not like, oh, we're holding back the Stadia reveal or something. It's like, it's just bizarre. It's like, anyway. So
again, we don't want to turn it too sour, but as people who've followed and reported on Stadia for many, many years now, it's just another thing. It's like, why this should be like shouted from the rooftops. Like, the bells should be ringing if we've got another AAA game coming next year.
For me, Stadia should just been tweeting about this game immediately as soon as Gamescom ended. As soon as the opening live finished, because this was the last up. So last up, right, here you go. It's coming.
Can confirm. Well, again, all the other publishers, platforms and stuff, they've done it.
Yeah.
Pre-order now, it's up there. So again, just another odd one, but no doubt it will excite loads of people out there. It's been a long time coming, Dead Island 2. Looks like crazy amounts of fun, and hopefully it does well.
Do you think it might be too long that people no longer care about the IP?
There is that risk.
I feel I don't think it's like, I think the game was liked well enough, but it doesn't feel like that particularly strong of an IP, that an 8-year absence.
Yeah. It's almost
I really hope it does well. I really hope it does.
It's almost the cult status that the trailer garnered.
Yeah.
That I think now has more people excited for it, and it's been such a long time coming. And again, coming out in February, I would usually say it's a good move, but then everything's been delayed and pushed back to next year now. It's that place is getting very crowded, so...
I worry that it might be one of them games that comes out at an unfortunate time when something bigger is being pushed in its way because of delays, and then it just... People just go, oh yeah, I like Dead Island, I'll get to it when I get to it, and then they're on to the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing, and then suddenly it's like, oh, you find it on your shelf, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong.
With all these, again, like zombie type games, I'm always surprised they don't aim for a Halloween launch. I don't know if there's some metrics that say, no, we launch early in the year, get our initial sales in, and then we kind of see a spike around Halloween, October time. It's the same with Dying Light, launched earlier in the year.
Maybe they just don't see a spike around Halloween with it, like that we would expect. Maybe they just don't see it, so the release when works for them.
Yeah, surprising, but either way, there isn't really a quiet time of the year when it comes to video games now. But nevertheless,
I think that the days of like waiting, like all the games came out just on the run up to Christmas, I think are gone.
Yeah, well,
there's more games as well. So
I think notoriously gamers were all kids back then, right? So you're all had to wait for Christmas for your parents to get you the stuff. Whereas I feel like now the industry's matured with the different generations to a point where parents want the games for themselves now, so they're not waiting for Christmas because they're adults with jobs and.
Yeah, I think there was definitely when we grew up this perception that games were for kids when there actually was a lot of adult-themed games and a lot of like adults playing games. Yeah. But in terms of like general public consciousness, games were for kids.
Yeah, I mean,
which is no longer the case.
I mean, I don't really remember my dad, my uncles playing games on their own, like not involving with the kids like on their own. Right. So like when we fast forward to now, like we're probably their age when we were kids, give or take a few years. I'm happy to still buy games, but.
Yeah, my dad would play things like Flight Simulator.
Yeah, but he wasn't going out buying like the latest AAA title when it came out because of the demand. So it's that kind of like interesting pivot in generations. So yeah, it's interesting to see how Christmas just isn't really like.
But I suppose our parents grew up with like Pong.
Yeah, it wasn't the big.
We grew up with like Mario and Sonic, so I think there's more game.
Oh yeah, there's definitely more to do. Yeah. But we digress, of course. The biggest takeaway for me though is just again Google Stadia. It doesn't seem to have had the best of years in terms of release schedule and big titles. However, Richie, I will say there's definitely a kind of rejuvenated excitement around the platform these last few weeks and months. And no surprise, it's because we're having big game announcements. We've got Dead Island 2, we've got Skull and Bones, we've got Avatar, we've got FIFA coming out next month. And Saints Row obviously just came out this past week, so that is a lot better than it looked back in, February, March, when you and me did a few podcast episodes, probably a CloudQuest episode, looking at the year ahead thinking, we've got nothing. Not one thing beyond Rainbow Six Extraction at the time, I think.
It's almost as if the thing Stadia is lacking is games.
Almost.
If you keep bringing new games, people get excited by the platform. People start talking about the platform in a positive way, and it grows.
Well, if you want games, Richie...
Crazy thought.
If you want games, I've got games for you. Because not only did we get that exciting news from Gamescom Opening Night Live, we also got our September Pro Games announced. So those of you out there who, of course, are subscribed to Stadia's monthly membership program, we got a list of titles on, I will say, the most detailed blog post I've seen in probably 2 years. I know Dan from Google has taken over since Chris from Google left and Grace from Google left and moved on. Shout out to you, Chris, if you do listen to the show. Amazing work. I've always kind of critiqued the blog post in the past. I know we both have, Richie. When they put out the pro game list, they kind of give 1 or 2 games a full breakdown, and then the other 2, 3, 4, and 5 just kind of get and you also get this. Whereas he's actually gone into full detail of a release date, when it's available, brief description, which is what you want.
It's what we want. Yeah, I think for the blog posts, I've always felt like sometimes they almost try to use these like as a marketing thing, but it's like, I don't think that's what the blog posts are. With the blog posts, you're talking to people already on the platform. Mm-hmm. So just talk to us.
Yeah, I want to know about
put info
games
in there. Yeah.
Plus, Richie, it makes our job much, much easier when it comes to reading
that too.
That's the biggest part. But yeah, shout out to Dan. You're doing great work. I hope you're settling in comfortably. But let's get into the pro games, because we've got another handful of descriptions of breakdowns. Now, normally we say look out to claim these on the 1st of September. However, in a special magical twist of fate, Yars Recharged, part of the Atari Recharge collection, we do know we're getting a couple of Atari games coming up in the future, is actually available now. So this is... I'm trying to rattle my brain. Seems to me it's the first pro game to run over 2 months to claim. So it's available now if you're watching this, if you listen to this on the Monday.
I don't know. I think we've had a lot of games on the Stadia Pro library you can claim for some of them over come up to almost 2 years. I'd have to check in Leeds Stadia Pro monitor to check out the numbers, but this is, I think, Yars Recharge is basically an August pro game that just happens to come late in the month.
Yeah, so late so that you can also claim it in September.
Yeah, we've had games Shadow drop middle of the month on the Pro before, so I think this is just another one of them.
Definitely.
It just happens to be announced alongside the September games.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to look at this.
But yes, in this 40-year plus remake of the Atari 2600 Classic, Yars Recharged is back. In this shoot-'em-up bullet hell game, you play as a flying bug. You'll fly into the enemy homeworld guarded by hives, shooting deadly pulse cannons and waves of missiles at you. Our bug protagonists will need to dodge and weave these projectives and respond in kind by blasting the enemies into oblivion. Are your shoot 'em up skills up to the task? Richie, of course, this is the rare opportunity we've had that the pro game has been out before the announcement, so we could have had a chance to play it. Have you checked out Yars Recharged yet?
No.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, you're missing out. Game is super fun. Similar to Centipede.
These Atari games are getting a good reputation. I need to not sleep on these.
You don't. So what I've been doing with them, because they are kind of arcadey, is my classic combination: Samsung S21 Ultra mobile phone, whack it in the Razer Kishi. When you got half an hour, jump onto it, and they are literally perfect for kind of mobile size screen displays. Beautiful neon colours, same as the rest of the Recharge collection. Nice kind of pixel art sound effects, and I just found myself working my way through level after level, defeating these little hive bosses, having a good time. It's super simple to pick up and play. There is an issue with the leaderboard right now, where when you go onto the leaderboard it just doesn't load.
You're not top of it.
I mean, that would be an issue, but it just says, it loads for a good while and then just says error, and it doesn't go beyond. It doesn't say error. I think it just kind of glitches you back to the menu. So there's definitely something up there. However, great fun. Just as much fun as Centipede.
Come on, Atari. You've had 40 years to fix it.
Yes, 40 years of working it. But don't sleep on this one, Richie.
Yeah, I think I've brought it up slightly a couple of times in other shows where I think at the moment, the last month or two, I think I've been pretty busy both in and out of work. So my gaming time felt like it has dropped a bit, which is why I'm kind of I've took today off, Friday. that's why I'm happy for the bank holiday. So I can just sit down and play some games.
Yeah. Well, over this weekend, I'd say give it half an hour, because it won't take more than 30 minutes to an hour to kind of really get a good idea of what it is. But what I've found myself doing is just when I've got those spare 5-10 minutes, just quick pop my phone in, raise the key sheet, bang, 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 do another level or two, and get out of there. But yeah, really fun. And I can't imagine playing it back in the day. I've just never heard of this game, so...
Yeah, on the stream sometime we should probably have like a competition, so we can get like the highest score. Something.
Well, what we could do is when Atari kind of put out a few more, and we have like a collection. I know there actually is an Atari collection game, Atari Mania, I think it's called, but it's not rated or announced for Stadia yet. It probably will come. When there's like a collection of them, we'll do just like an Atari stream where we'll play with the community and we'll just jump in and see who can get the best score on the day.
We can do like the side-by-side thing I did with Stray. We did with Stray as well.
Yeah, compete each other at the same time. But that was just one of your pro games for August/September now. Next up, we had Try 6 Infinite, which is it's an odd name for a video game from Clockwork Origins, of course, the guys behind the Elemental War 2. Version on that is on Stadia as well. Go check that one out. But yes, Try 6 Infinite. Race in a futuristic Tron-inspired endless racetrack that will test your driving mettle. While the first few levels may be smooth driving, the later levels will ramp up in difficulty. Soon players will be greeted by generated obstacles that appear at a maddening pace. Tunnels, lasers, sharp turns, and opponents are just some challenges that players will have to navigate through. Speaking of enemies, racers will be able to pick up items on the track, use those items to fire projectiles at opponents while dodging opponents' attacks and obstacles. How long can you last on the cyberspace racetrack? Try 6 Infinite, claimable on Pro from the 1st of September. Richie, I've just got kind of total Wipeout meets Tron vibes from this game.
Yeah, my initial thoughts were like, this game looks a bit slower for what I'd like for like a Tron-style racer. You want that to feel really, really fast, like X-Zero or something. But then actually, now I think about it, if this is an endless track, I feel like you're probably going to speed up as you go.
Yeah.
So that alleviates my concerns there. It's like, I was thinking that if you're just going around this racetrack continually, then it's like, okay, I want to feel a bit faster when I'm racing other people. But if it's more of it's a survival rather than you actually head-to-head racer. Yeah,
watching the trailer that was just shown there for viewers on YouTube is I totally get you. The one thing that gets me is there doesn't seem to be any motion blur in the trailer, like to make you feel like you're going at pace. There doesn't seem to be any. There's no speed
what I mean.
conveyed. It's very
the feel of the game. I mean, I've not got hands on sticks yet, but it's like just watching the trailer it feels slow.
Yeah, it strikes me more like it plays like a kart racer than an actual like Wipeout or a super fast racing game or flying through space. Because in the trailer I didn't see any of that. Yeah, I would expect like all the little blurs and blobs you're going through to be kind of blurred past me. But like you said, if the game speeds up,
there's one shot where it's like the bike, it does look a lot faster. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why I'm thinking like as you get further along the track, will it just start speeding up?
Yeah. So projectiles, opponents, and stuff as well as you work your way through the never-ending track racer. So we'll check that one out. We'll get on that. If you're a racing fan out there, or if you're a Tron fan, in fact, 1st of September, second pro game. Next up on the pro game list, one that made me go, damn it. Why? And it's because I bought the game. I think you bought the game as well, Richie. However,
we did content on the game.
However, it is one of our favourite games of all time, and that is Overcooked All You Can Eat. That's right, the collection of Overcooked 1 and 2 with all the add-on content revamped and put into one package. Has been available on Stadia for about 2 months now, but it's here, coming 1st of September. Not with cross-platform play, we should point out. Just for the pure sake of the trailer, just showed cross-platform multiplayer. And I know the game got a bit of stick when it launched originally. But for those playing couch co-op and single player, for all those cooking aficionados out there, Overcooked All You Can Eat is your game. With over 200 levels, 80 chefs, players will traverse the land of the Onion Kingdom to cook up a wide range of recipes and in a variety of kitchens. But you think this game is a walk in the kitchen? You're sorely mistaken. This restaurant simulator throws you into a cooking chaos world where players will use teamwork to serve as many dishes as they can to satisfy hungry customers before the timer runs out. Friendships and relationships will be put to the test as you quickly find out how well you work or don't work together in intense moments to overcome each cooking challenge. Richie, we've gushed about Overcooked many times on this podcast. Obviously, disappointing it still doesn't have the multiplayer content. They did actually announce on Twitter this past week that there is new DLC coming. However, everyone in the comments seemed to just want Overcooked 3. But yeah, there's going to be more, no doubt, skins and maybe a few map packs or something. But definitely, if you've got any family out there, any friends, any relationships you want to put to the test, I enjoy playing this game more with Richie than I do my wife because we can communicate better, which I don't know what that says more about. But either way, she doesn't have the patience for getting stuck into the kitchen like me and you do.
I'm more of a gamer than your wife, so it might just be that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But yes, Overcooked All You Can Eat, probably my top pick from the selection of pro games this month, just based on the fun I've had with it. And if you've not picked it up already, great one for pros. A nice bit of variety. Moving on, we've got another critically acclaimed title in the form of Spiritfarer. Spiritfarer is a cozy management simulator about dying. Wait, dying, did you say? Players assume the role of a ferry master that sends off the spirits on a final memorable journey on a ship before their transition to the afterlife. That's all the description is for Spiritfarer. However, from what we've seen, Richie, about Spiritfarer in the past, it's won plenty of nods and awards for kind of art style, music, and more importantly, emotional impact. I think it won the Emotional Impact Game Awards title, purely because every character you're trying to take through to the afterlife, it basically tells you a journey, a story about how they came to be in that position. And you learn about kind of their families, their exploits, why they're there, their remorse, their guilt. Told through a very cartoon artistic style, which I think is what has caught a lot of people off guard with Spiritfarer. It's not the game they expect when they get into it. A little bit like Elk. Was it Elk Island? What was it called? House of Elk? Why can't I remember it?
Oh, I know the one you mean.
It looks like a cat. Welcome to Elk, yeah, House of Elk. But yeah, it doesn't look like it should be the type of game it is. But then, yeah, you get into it and it's like, hits you in the feels, as they say. Did you play Spiritfarer Fest when it came out?
I didn't, so I'm kind of happy it's coming to pro. This is one of them games I think almost in some ways, well, the art style works when you get into it. In terms of enticing people to jump in, the art style might be working against it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I think it's one of them, once you start understanding what the game is, whether you play, it's like, okay, yeah. Because the game, I don't think the game is what it looks like it should be.
Yeah. You're not usually expecting like cartoon bright colours. You're expecting something like a bit gloomy and dark, and think river Styx and skeletons and that kind of stuff. But no, it's a lot brighter. But it definitely gets a lot of people in the fields, and I do know it won loads of awards. So it's one I'm looking forward to checking out myself. Actually, Thunder Lotus Games, interesting stuff. However, if you do not want to be ferrying people across to the afterlife world, and fear not, because that isn't the only pro game left on our list. The final one is one for the kiddos out there, one for the families, and that is PJ Masks' Heroes of the Night are here to save the day. Follow superheroes Catboy, Owlet, and Gecko in PJ Masks. Richie, before we get into it, can you have a guess which one is Catboy, which one is Owlet, and which one is Gecko? You got three colours. You got red, blue, and green.
The thing is, I'm watching the trailer, so I know.
Oh, does it say in the trailer?
No, you can tell by looking at them.
Right. Oh, I see.
The blue guy's got cat ears. The red guy's got like an owl mask. So the green one's the other one.
All right. I would have thought the green one would have been Gecko, just by nature of that.
Yeah. So I would have tried to play the guessing game, but I was cheating.
Okay, you're a cheat. We all know.
Well, I wasn't cheating.
We all know it from the Stray live stream competition. But either way, Heroes of the Night. They protect the city from evildoers. Our protagonists will face off against the villains Romeo, Luna Girl, not Amazon Luna Girl, and Night Ninja, who are trying to take over the world. To get your superhero fix by claiming it on pro. You know what? For a kids game, I think we've said this many times. Like, we grew up with like Crash, Spyro, Sonic, Mario, and stuff, and a bunch of other rubbish ones in between, and some lesser ones. Bubsy, shout out to Bubsy. Croc Legends of the Gobos, like all of that kind of stuff. Kids today just absolutely spoilt on choice. Like I know the PJ Masks games, a big Outright. Shout out to Outright again, doing wonderful stuff for the family-friendly games. But yeah, if you're picking up a controller now as a kid, like Peppa Pig games you've got out there, it's great.
Yeah, like I think that when we were kids, that the kind of formula of making a good game aimed at kids, they hadn't kind of figured out properly yet. And now actually, because the kids games tend to have a lot of different game styles in.
Yeah.
As now we've went through the 3D transition, so you can immediately, in terms of the platform, you can switch from 2D to 3D, and that can change up the gameplay, keep kids interested. So you've got that way. I think at times kids games when we were growing up were just brutal.
Oh yeah, there's many games I had on my Game Boy and PlayStation that I didn't get past like the first few levels because I just didn't have the brain capacity at the time to understand what I needed to do to solve puzzles or overcome certain boss fights. But luckily, you also had the patience of a child, and you were happy to just play through 1,000 times over. And like, you might not have ever got past level 2, but you know what? You're still having fun repeating level 1 and 2 over and over. Like Mario and is it the Golden Coins or something for the Game Boy?
6 gold coins. That's a great game.
Yeah, but I don't think I ever got past maybe level 6 or 7.
Oh man, you're missing out. That's a good game.
But
go back and play it.
I've still got it upstairs, so I might do. But either way, folks, those are your pro games to claim for the month of September. Asterix, except for Yars Revenge, you can actually claim right now. So go check them out. Nice bit of variety. No AAA standouts for this particular month, but a nice variety, filling the pot up. And you can go claim them all now. So have fun. A couple of pieces of news that also came in the community blog while we're here. There was a couple more trials added to the trials list. So we are now, Richie, up to 140 full game trials are available on Google Stadia. The new ones that were added was 9 to 5, Darkwood, the Jackbox Party 6 and 7, The Gardens in Between, and Killer Queen Black and Crater to round things out. It'd be a fun quiz game to play, trials. Guess which games
aren't.
Which games are and which games aren't. I do wonder doing this podcast if there's ever a point when someone actually names a game for us and we go... I would be quite confident if you give me a list of games, I could pick out which one was and wasn't on Stadia. Confidently.
I've just had an idea. Like, we could do like a hot potato thing where it's like, we'll get Rob the host or something, me and you go backwards and forwards, and like, the topic is games that are on trial on Stadia. And you have a countdown, like use like a chess clock sort of thing, of like every time you guess one right, you have to pass over the other person, out. And like.
Well, we could do something like that at our Helix Cloud Games celebration event coming up on our 3rd anniversary. We'll have more details to reveal imminently, but yes, 1st of October, 3 years old. Well, technically 30th September is our birthday, but the 1st of October is a Saturday, so it makes more sense to celebrate for the full day rather than just the Friday evening after work. Yeah. So keep it tuned, keep it locked to our Twitter feeds, and we'll reveal more information, maybe on next week's show. Once we've got our schedule planned for that one. But that brings us to an end on our community blog, our Stadia Pro titles, and let's move on to the next topic of the week. Saints Row launched this past week, 23rd of August. Same night as opening night live. Two, let's say, mixed reviews, I want to say. There is a first look available on the channel. I checked it out. I dove in this Thursday, as we always do. On Helix Cloud Games, we have community live streams and first looks going live, usually Thursdays, sometimes Fridays, depending on our schedule, up on the channel for you guys to join in with us and have a gaming adventure. And of course, I wanted to check out this latest entry in the Saints Row franchise, the reboot from Volition Studios. And to give me my quick thoughts, Richie, before I hand it over, because I know you want to go into the Metacritic world of things. If you're expecting a serious game, it's not the game for you. It's if you're expecting to have just crazy fun in a crazy world, it ticks those boxes. Weapons galore, bad writing galore, a couple of bugs and glitches I came across, but you know what? I rounded out my first look, and I had fun with what I played. It's not going to rival like God of War, The Last of Us, or something for like story and acting and graphic fidelity, but I did have a good laugh with it. There's a few moments that made me chuckle out loud. And if you're looking for that kind of chaos, just sit back and mess around in a huge open world. It's got it in abundance.
So when you say bad writing, because this is one of the criticisms I've read into a bit, do you mean the writing's actually just bad, doesn't make sense, full of plot holes, or is it just slapstick?
It probably slapstick.
Sometimes, because I wouldn't say slapstick is bad writing sometimes, if it is by intent, and it feels by intent.
So there was a big part of me
but that's assuming the jokes land.
Yeah, there's a big part of me that playing through it, I kind of, naturally, because it's a first look, I'm going in, and because I do a podcast, I'm kind of going in with a more critical eye, and I think there's things that happen. So it's not really spoilers because it happens in the opening few minutes, but you're a rookie cop or a rookie for this kind of security agency, and you hunt down the boss, like the enemy that you need to arrest and capture, and you literally have him at gunpoint from 2 meters away, and he somehow in that moment escapes you, gets up a flight of stairs and disappears, and it's where I'm thinking, in real life scenario, you just shoot him in the leg and he'd be gone. But I think he throws a dagger past your head, and you take a second to look at the dagger and go, shit. And then when you look back, he's gone up the stairs. And it's like, okay, suspend my disbelief a little bit. And then he escapes. Rather
than just pulling the trigger and going.
Yeah, and then he escapes onto a helicarrier jet, and that gets attached to a truck. And the physics involved, just with dragging the truck through the sky, don't... But again, suspend your disbelief. It's not about that. It's about the cheesy one-liners, the wacky jokes. And you know what? I had fun. It wasn't a tough game. Graphically, it wasn't the best game. However, I had a laugh with it. So I don't want to be too harsh on it. Because what I would probably say in a nutshell is if this game had came out 8 to 10 years ago, it would be absolutely applauded. Like, win all of the kind of applause. Because it's coming out in 2022, and I think the whole industry has elevated itself so much in the last 5 to 6 years in terms of storytelling, motion capture, graphic fidelity. Just having an open world game with some average story maybe doesn't cut it anymore. For a lot of gamers anyway.
And this is the thing. I think you have to, in some ways, evaluate a game compared to what's coming out around it at the same time, rather than what this game was when it was in the initial version of its release. Because the world changes. I mean, looking at the PS5 Metacritic score, because the Stadia one, there's not enough reviews to thingy it, is 63 from the critics, which is... Honestly, I was really hoping this game would at least be hitting... I was expecting this game to at least hit an average of like 70. I was hoping to be in the 80s, maybe going plus, because... They were Volition were kind of pitching this as a reimagining of Saints Row, Saints Row for a modern era, for modern hardware. Like I've always felt Saints Row was almost like 2.5A. Yeah. Not quite triple A, but more than double A. I thought is this the game that's going to take that step up, and it feels like it hasn't. It feels like, from what I've been reading of the reviews, it feels like it hasn't taken that step up. But because the world has moved up behind it, it's actually fallen back into double A rather than...
Yeah, I agree. I think it's painted as a triple A, but then when you get your hands on it, you very realise like there is quite a few bugs. I think the first kind of
it feels like a triple A from 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. That is the perfect kind of analogy for it. I think just little things what it got to. Like I said, I think the first side mission I went to, there was no one's mouth was moving when they were talking to each other. And I was like, all right, okay, it happens. And then I think you did the mission, you got back, and it's the garage where you're gonna basically upgrade your vehicles from. It went from just a scrapyard, and I got back from the mission, and the guy was like, oh, cool, what's the plan? I'm gonna open a garage. I'll be in on that garage. I'll take a percentage cut of all the profits you make. Great. Flash forward 10 seconds, there is a full garage there with brick, mortar, roofs, sheds, windows, cars being worked on. You're like, that all just happened in 10 seconds.
I can suspend my disbelief.
Exactly. You have to. But again, I feel like because it's trying to tell a story and be a reboot, I expected a bit more polish on things that give me a... Again, it's just reading too much into it. But like you said, Richie, it's a AAA game if it released several years ago, whereas it's dropping down because of the nature of what it's doing.
I want to dig into the user score on Metacritic for a moment, actually, before we move on. Because at the moment, again, PS5 time of recording, it's a 3.1. And it's almost, there's a lot where the critics are kind of like, the split is like, most critics are in the mixed range, some positive, some negative, which seems to be reasonably, any sensible people talking about where it falls. It feels like a 6 to 7 out of 10 game, depending on your preference, from what I've heard. User reviews, there's a lot of ones, there's a lot of zeros, And there's a lot of people who are writing reviews, like, feel genuinely, like, probably, as I said, like, they expected this to be the AAA Saints Row. This is what the franchise is going to be forward. It's going to be... You're going to get bugs when you play a game day one. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can write them off a bit, as long as there's not too many. But it seems like there's other elements of the gameplay didn't live up to expectation. It feels like people being a bit burnt by the hype of the game and a bit salty. And then there's people who are review bombing this for political reasons. I'm not going to go into the nature of that. But the reason I want to bring it up is because anyone jumping on the Metacritic page will see that 3.1, but that is a very skewed number.
Yeah.
I strongly suspect a lot of the reviews are people pushing forward their political views onto the game, and it's a bit of bandwagon jumping. It's like, I would question, make your own mind up and all this sort of stuff. I'd question how many of these people have actually played the game.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who's played the game, I don't want to put a score on it, but I would say if you've enjoyed other Saints Row games, you'll enjoy this one. If you enjoy Grand Theft Auto or just mess around in an open world, like nonsensical fun type games, like Just Cause, like that type of style,
I think
you'll enjoy this one.
maybe the problem with this game is it's come out after Grand Theft Auto 5, so it's come out a long time after Grand Theft Auto 5 as well.
Three games that came out since Grand Theft Auto 5 in the Saints Row franchise.
Yeah, does it have any business being objectively worse than that at this point?
Well, that's the big review thing I've seen. People there was a part of me went out, so I went after the live stream. I went and played a bit more as well into the night on my own, obviously off camera, just to get a good feel for it.
Well, that's good enough. Like, I mean, if you're willing to do that, you must be enjoying it.
Yeah, I was having fun with it, but there was part of me that thought, do I just boot up GTA 5 and compare it? And when you're being compared to a game that's nearly 10 years old now, that's if you're in that ballpark and you're still not hitting above it with so many years experience and
there's an argument
hindsight.
It's unfair because GTA 5 is one of the best selling games of all time. It's one of the best games of all time. However, it's almost a decade old.
Yeah, but then it just is more of a testament to how good GTA 5 is then, right? You can swing at it from both ways, I guess. But what I would say, just to kind of wrap it up, is definitely if you're a Saints Row fan, you'll enjoy this one. And just go have fun with it. Play wherever makes you happy. Play what you like. Forget reviews and critics. Make your own mind up.
I'm disappointed because I wanted to see Volition and like the Embracer Group as a whole kind of take that next step in their evolution of their company, especially as they keep buying more stuff.
Yeah.
To go, we can produce a AAA game that is going so well. I was never expecting this hitting 9s or 10s, but if it was largely 7s with the occasional 8, it's like, okay, you've took that step. It feels like they haven't.
Well, for me, I genuinely think Embracer's best game will be whatever Square Enix or Adios Montreal put out next. Whatever the next Tomb Raider entry will probably be Embracer's best game ever. And that's just because of the quality they've bought, which again, their investments, at least they're investing in quality across the board. You're looking for a good IP, they just bought the Lord of the Damn Rings. So they're making the right moves potentially. But yeah, Saints Row, obviously Volition, I don't know. I don't think they'll be working on a Saints Row after this. I'd like to see something new from them, to be fair, as well.
Yeah.
I know they tried to do, what was the shooter game? Agents of Mayhem, was it called? That was like a Fortnite-inspired thing that came out and they basically went back to Saints Row because it never took off. But we digress. Let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are, your first impressions are of Saints Row. Have you enjoyed it so far? And more importantly, they have clarified over on Twitter that Stadia will be getting the expansion pass. Specifically, Richie, because the game purchasable on Stadia is just the standard edition. There is no gold edition and there is no season pass currently available to buy. However, they've clarified over on Twitter to Granite T Rock, asking me good important questions out there, and they've said yes, Stadia will have the expansion pass when we start releasing content for it. Smiley face. So great to hear. Excellent news. Moving on though, as I said, that was some of the Gamescom announcements, some of the things we did see. However, there was plenty of news in and around the Stadiaverse to kind of get our teeth into. Richie, we watched along, of course. Loads of you wonderful people watched along and tuned in for Opening Night Live, where we broke it all down and chatted about it with you, me and Rob. And just to skim through a couple of the quick takes from some of the games that were announced, more importantly, the ones that were probably closer to potentially getting Stadia content. First one up for me was the new Tales from the Borderlands. We actually discussed it on last week's... I don't know if we covered it on Sounds of Stadia or Talking to PS, but either way, we covered it. Gearbox making their own game. And the reason we say it is because Borderlands 3 is one of the biggest games on Stadia. We didn't get Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, disappointingly. And we don't really know where 2K's relationship is with Stadia in terms of a publishing division. However, I would love to see new Tales from the Borderlands coming to Stadia. Didn't get an announcement at Gamescom, but we know how things work over here, Richie. After finally seeing the trailer, hype levels higher or lower than they were before? Or the same?
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Literally just the same. Like new Tales of the Borderlands, I'm in. I don't want to see too many trailers of this because it's very, very story driven.
Mm-hmm.
And the more it's one of them, it's like sometimes when outside of Marvel, because Marvel's like the trailers are now their own kind of beast where actually there's a lot of like alternative scenes and stuff are shot for trailers directly. But traditionally, when you see like trailers for something just purely story driven, you don't want to know too much about it. You need to know enough to go, yeah, I want to go see that. I want to know more about that. And that's where I am with Tales of the Borderlands. Like, I enjoyed the last one. I enjoyed the humour of Borderlands. I think 2K will do a great job making this game. Like, I'm already in.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't watch the trailer and go, oh, Christ, I was wrong on that one. Or go, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like, this is what I expected it to be. This is Tales of the Borderlands. Yeah,
completely. Same here. I actually think this is probably one of the best games that's going to come from Embracer, funnily enough, is new Tales from the Borderlands. Will it come to Stadia? We'll have to wait and see. But I'd love to see it because, again, the Telltale games we said from time to time again, they look great with touch input, just by the nature of they're a bit of a slower paced style game. Yeah. But we got that one. We got a bit of an update on the Hogwarts Legacy. We know that was recently pushed back to next year, so it has been delayed a little while. And the WB Hogwarts games, for me, they're a publisher and a branch of IP that just they don't seem to have been tapped up for Google Stadia beyond Mortal Kombat. And I just keep wondering, like, when are Google going to go back to the table with Warner Brothers and say, hey, we've got an AT&T partnership with you. You have Arkham Knight running on the platform. When are you going to bring over these Batman and Harry Potter games? Because you've got some of the biggest IP in the world. This is the first Harry Potter game or Hogwarts game we've had in years. I think the Lego Harry Potter games were probably the last big ones outside of mobile. And it's getting a bit of hype. It's got some excitement around it. I know a few of our friends are looking forward to it. I'm kind of on the fence with it because I enjoy Harry Potter, but I'm not a massive Harry Potter nut like I know some of our friends are. You and me definitely lean more towards Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones than Harry Potter,
yeah,
I think.
I enjoy Harry Potter. I think it's an interesting world to get lost in. Mm-hmm. I just don't think I've seen enough gameplay from this yet.
Yeah, I still don't really know what I'm doing. But again, I just want... Like, how many years need to pass before Google and Warner Brothers get the shit together and go, like, look, are we working together or not?
I mean, they are on a massive stream, which that's always been the frustrating thing.
That's the elephant in the room, isn't it? It's like you are working together actively with your AT&T umbrella company. And I know there's loads of shit going on because they're closing down. Is it HBO are getting folded into Discovery and they're cancelling loads of shows, and DC are cancelling loads of stuff, and they're trying to sell assets, and it's a bit all over the place. But what I would love to do is by next year, the turn of the year, we just see some kind of announcement. If we don't get Gotham Knights this year as well, that'll be a bit of a disappointment. Although I'm not really hyped for that game. I think it's a AAA game that should and could be very viable on Stadia. But
yeah, I mean, Hogwarts Legacy is one of them. I think it's going to sell a lot. I'm not expecting it to be like in Game of the Year contender, but probably in that tier below.
It's going to be popular, hands down.
Yeah, it's going to be popular. It's going to be. I expect it to be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what have we got coming out next year? We've got quite a lot of stuff.
Oh, yes.
That's been so that's why I'm probably not expecting it to be in the Game of the Year conversation so much, but just outside it.
Yeah,
maybe up for an award in one a specific category.
Yeah, but again, it's from a Stadia point of view. It's just how many years into the platform do we need to be before things start coming? Like, remember when we did like episode probably 10, and we theorized about. Yeah. In the future, in the years to come, by the end of year 1, by the end of year 2, we should be at a point when pretty much most games should be coming day and date to the platform. And we're coming up on the 3rd anniversary in November, and I feel like we're if anything, we haven't really moved on from 2019.
Yeah, I mean, we know the priorities shifted.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff behind the scenes.
It felt probably toward like second half of year 2, first half of this year, like, what's going on? Is anything actually going on? But it feels like it's building the second half of this year. It does,
yeah, it's building. So I wanted to build on that. And again, I keep waiting for these kind of like, is there going to be like a financial briefing or a board meeting where we're going to actually get our next big update? Because I genuinely think the last time they actively did something big was closures, which less said that. Well, we won't talk about that here anyway. Keep going. Sonic Frontiers got its other thing. Again, Sega. Where's Sega at? Don't sleep on Sega Stadia. You've got Sonic and the Olympic game. Give us Sonic Frontiers. Give us Sonic Mania. Richie, Sonic Frontiers. Yeah. Just while we're here. Could this look better? Does it do anything for you as a Sonic fan?
Honestly, I was hoping to see a bit more from the trailer at Game Awards, because this was one of the ones that was actually getting pushed in the thumbnails and the marketing stuff, and I felt like I'm no hotter or colder than on Sonic Frontiers than I was going in, which I feel in that sense the kind of trailer hasn't really done what it was intending to do.
Yeah, I feel the same.
I'm waiting for reviews.
Yeah, I think I said we were watching Open Night Live. I've never bought a 3D Sonic game. It's always been 2D for me, and there's nothing I saw in this trailer that made me go like, "Ooh, I've got to get this day one."
Yeah, I want to see the Hedgehog really stand back up and like take his place at the top of gaming again.
Top of gaming. It's been many a decade, Richie, since he was up there. Moving on to some slightly more Stadia news in the realm of video games that were announced, purely because these games were rumored to be coming to Stadia at some point. So Lies of P was the next one up, which is the steampunk Pinocchio retelling. Richie, if you could do me a favour, have a look on our doc. When did we last talk about Lies of P? Because it definitely was either I don't think it was rated, or the website or the developer said something about Stadia many months ago. But this game was one of the ones that was slated. And I think the developer came out and confirmed it wasn't coming to Stadia. But I can't remember, I think off the top of my head, how long ago it actually was.
Do you want to know when it was?
I'm just glad I'm not just making this up. What was it?
Going by our doc, so it's about as reliable as it is.
Yeah.
The last time we had it on our show notes was discussing Summer Games Fest.
Okay.
On episode 87.
Right. Episode 87, so long, many months back. And what was the story specifically? Do we know? Or?
I'm opening up the articles now. Just see if I can find something.
So while you do,
because our topic was just Lies of P coming to Stadia ?
All right, okay. So obviously we maybe add more detail in the doc now. We're better at this podcast than malarkey. But Lives of P, for those who didn't check out the trailer, it's essentially it's a steampunk retelling of the Pinocchio adventure. We guess the guy's running around Bloodborne, Demon Souls style. Bunch of variety of weapons. He's got a metal arm. I guess Pinocchio's made out of wood. This guy's made out of kind of steampunk bits. And he fights his way past various enemies and such, big boss fights. It looks like there's going to be... I think I said when we watched the trailer, like Jiminy Cricket and Geppetto at some point, but who knows? There is actually a Pinocchio movie coming to Disney Plus September the 8th or something, which features Tom Hanks as Geppetto, so could be a good one.
Okay, here we go. Basically, according to IGN has listed it for Stadia, which that listing is still there now.
Okay.
On their platforms, but there was never anything mentioning it from any write-ups that we pulled together at the time. So, I mean, I'm guessing IGN's updated their page for Lies of P recently because of Gamescom. So it's still got Stadia there. Okay.
But I'm pretty sure the developer came out and maybe tweeted or something and said it wasn't. But we'll put a pin in that one for now. But again, it's one of the more exciting games, I think, from Gamescom that kind of took the mantle of people were talking about it after the fact. Still think the name could do with some improvement. I don't get Lies of P. If it's Pinocchio, just say Lies of Pinocchio, although it's really hard to spell. I'll change it. Yeah. I tweeted out, I'd like to call it String of Lies, Richie. You got anything better than String of Lies?
That's actually really good.
Right?
Yeah, I hadn't thought of anything, so you kind of put me on the spot, but I do like String of Lies.
Cool, there you go. Copyright, head it here. And I think just the game looks great. Very intrigued by it. The next one we got that again was Stadia Tinge, which is like, it's always like the little you know, like when you see in movies, there's the villain's always like, I give up. And he gets his little knife out from his ankle and jabs you in the side or the liver or something like that. This is what this feels like when we cover these topics. High on Life, the Justin Roiland next game from the Rick and Morty fame, you may know him from. Squanch Games in particular. This game was supposed to be coming to Stadia. He's actively said in an interview about this game and how he was talking with Google about making the game possibly exclusive, and then it all fell apart and he pitched out everywhere. It's now coming to Game Pass day one. It's on Xbox, PC, and console. This is just kind of a wacky, zany, colourful world, voiced by Rick and Morty creators. So it literally sounds like Morty in the trailer is the voice of like the main gun. And your weapons talk to you.
Too much in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have as much voice range as the South Park guys do, evidently. But the guns, the weapons, they all have their own personalities and characters. It looks like some zany fun. Lots of swear words in there, the classic Rick and Morty style. But it's getting loads of hype. And yeah, similar to kind of Journey to the Savage Planet vibes I get from this one. Like just wacky humour, but with a bit more of a Rick and Morty twist. It's just frustrating to think like this probably would have been a Stadia exclusive at some point. And yet we're watching it go over to Game Pass as a day one. It's probably going to get loads of hype because of the Rick and Morty connection, and also because I've never seen a game where the weapons actively talk to you. It's definitely a unique twist on a first-person shooter.
It's been done in Borderlands as a one-off.
That's true, yeah.
But that's kind of Borderlands. But yeah, I mean, I think it looks good. I think this is one of them games where it probably would benefit from being a fairly short experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this could be like a 40-hour campaign sort of thing.
I don't think it is. I don't think it will be.
Because I think it would probably get grating a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely the perfect Game Pass game or Stadia Pro game, perhaps.
Yeah, you probably want to be like 10 hours and you're done sort of thing for me, or something like this.
Indeed. But we lament that one as it goes day one on Game Pass. And we wonder what could have been. But again, Gamescom, decent opening night show, and there was a couple of other titles in there. Anything additional stand out for you, Richie? I was quite keen on, obviously not really Stadia related, but the Callisto Protocol still has my intrigue. The Lords of the Fallen trailer looked really cool. And I think I probably know the one you're going to say, so I'll let you say it.
Yeah, Where Winds Meet.
Yeah, that was the one. Especially because you're playing through Ghost of Tsushima at the moment. So
yeah, I'm like, that trailer dropped at the right time for me.
And I think just to kind of round out the Open Night Live content for viewing numbers, so Benji Sales over on Twitter actually rounded up the YouTube most views after 24 hours. In the top 7 was Genshin Impact, 1.9 million plus views. Second, Sonic Frontiers, 1.4 million.
Let us know in the comments if you play Genshin Impact. I've not met anyone, but clearly a lot of people play it.
Yes, definitely. Sonic Frontiers in at number 2, 1.4 million. Dead Island 2 gameplay with 1.3 million. Dune Awakening, 1.2 million. The Lords of the Fallen, 1.1. The DualSense Edge Pro Controller, 1 million. And Hogwarts Legacy, 700,000. So interesting stats, but they just kind of give you an idea of what people are searching for off the back of Opening Night Live.
Yeah, again, it's worth mentioning as well. I mean, I think you already did, but that is after 24 hours. The numbers now, if you look, would be very different.
Oh, definitely. But it gives you a quick initial kind of insight into what people are talking about. And I'll tell you what we're talking about here, Richie, on the Sounds of Stadia podcast, and that is games that are coming to Stadia, because outside of the Gamescom and all of the industry hype, we also got some games drop, stealth games drop as well, and that one of them is, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? In a very surprising shadow drop, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader is available now to pick up on Google Stadia for £24.99, based on the popular TV franchise that if you live in the UK or Europe, you've probably never heard of, because it's not called that over here. It's just stateside. It's a couch co-op quiz game for 1 to 8 players where you face off with more than 6,800 fully voiced questions, prove how much you still remember from school, and if you are in fact smarter than a fifth grader. Richie, fifth graders, what age group are we talking for a fifth grader, do you think? Because I know stateside they have kindergarten, where we have nursery school, right? And then we have primary school when they have high school's higher.
I want to say like 10-year-olds, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say a fifth grader. So yeah, well, our American viewers, if you're watching along, let us know in the comments. Correct us right, because we have nursery initially, which is like you're 4 years old, 3 to 4. Yeah. Then you go into primary school from pretty much 4-year-old. You basically do 1, 2, 3,
11.
4, 5, 6, and then you go to secondary school, which is kind of higher learning,
11 to 16
for 5 more years. And then you go to college for 2 years or so and pick like specific specialized subjects. And then you go into university, where you study like for your degree or your scholarship kind of thing. But very different. I mean,
there is different schools in the UK do things slightly different, but that is kind of
that's the
default
core structure, isn't it?
Secondary school is like 11 to 16. College is like kind of. kind of like high school, so like 16 to 18.
Yeah.
Then like university, you usually start in university when you're 18.
Yeah, definitely. But it's always one that's confused me. To be fair, my wife's a teacher, and still when she talks about, say, like, oh, my year 7s or my year 8s did this week, and I'm like, and then they tell me whatever crazy story it is, and I go, and how old are these kids supposed to be? And they're like, oh, 14. It's like, oh, okay, interesting. Interesting. But either way, Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? I think in the UK it's Are You Smarter Than a 9-year-old? I think is the actual TV show we have over here. I've never watched it, but I've seen clips on like Instagram and stuff. Fun little game. Again, it's just another quiz entry over on the platform.
Price a bit steep in my opinion for what it is, but
yeah, it's not a new game though, is it? Or no, it is a new game. I think it just launched.
Still, for what it is, a quiz show game at £25 just feels a little steep.
Either way, it might be on Stadia Pro before long. Let us know if you've played this one. Exciting times. Another game that is coming that is in line with that kind of similar fun is the Jackbox Party Pack 9. Is coming this fall. Reading from our friends over at Stadia Dosage, they picked it up. The Jackbox team announced today that the next iteration of the popular series, Jackbox Party Pack 9, is going to be coming to Stadia this autumn. Stadia was announced alongside a wide range of new platforms on their website. If you head over to the YouTube page, it has a little trailer for all of the actual individual games rather than the pack as its whole. We've got Fibbage 4, we've got Quicksort, Junktopia, Nonsensory, and Roomerang are the new entries into it, as well as some returning ones such as Fibbage. But yeah, we enjoy the party packs ones. Again, another kind of game that I believe is sometimes priced a little bit too high for what they are.
Yeah, the thing is, they're kind of like evergreen as well, though. So like, you can just, unless you're like massive into them, when the price is definitely going to be worth it. You can just hold them out till they come out on sale or Stadia Pro.
Yeah, I would say £10 to £15 is probably the sweet spot for this.
Yeah.
Because
if you've got a bunch of friends around your house and you'll chip in a couple of quid, you buy it, and then you have a good evening.
And then they forget to transfer you the funds. Either way, though, fun little game. We have a good laugh with it, and it's nice to see they're all being supported. No doubt they'll come soon to Stadia, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. Just rounding out the show with some smaller stories. Well, I say smaller stories, actually. Forget that. Bigger story. Life is Strange 2 has also been rated over on the ESRB ratings board. I don't have a trailer for this one, folks, watching YouTube. However, it dropped just before we went live, so I managed to get this one in there. I don't know if you had even seen the story, Richie.
No, I hadn't. I only saw it as we got down to it.
It's just as I'm working my way through it, I'm like, oh, I forgot to mention that one. But yes, Life is Strange 2 has been rated today via ESRB. So again, Life is Strange 2 launched back in 2018. It's developed by Don't Nod, so it's not actually Deck 9 who did the original and Life is Strange True Colours. So it's a little bit of a kind of dark horse in the series, isn't it? We had the original, which was reviewed very, very well. Then we had Before the Storm, which was reviewed very, very well and kind of added together with number 1. Then we had 2, which I don't think was received as well. And then we had True Colours, which was well received.
Yeah, I've enjoyed what I've played of 2, but I've tried to play through it twice now. I get to like episode 2, and then I don't know why.
Just
I can't put my finger on it. It just falls off.
Interesting.
One day I will play.
One day
I will play through to completion.
But yes, the award-winning Life is Strange series continues with an all-new story. After the tragic incident, brothers Sean and Daniel Diaz run away from home, fearing the police and dealing with Daniel's newly manifested telekinetic powers, the power to move objects with your mind. The boys decide to travel to their father's hometown of Puerto Lobos in Mexico for safety. Suddenly, 16-year-old Sean is responsible for Daniel's safety, shelter, and teaching him right from wrong. As Daniel's power grows, it's up to Sean to decide the rules by which they live. Keep the power secret, or use it to help them in their journey. Beg, borrow, or steal. Reach out to family, or stay hidden. Your choice shapes the fate of the Diaz brothers and the lives of everyone they meet. So yeah, typical Life is Strange storytelling. I've not actually ever touched this one. As much as I enjoyed 1 and 2, and I know the full playthrough of Life is Strange True Colours is available on our channel right now. I've never, ever even looked into downloading 2 for some reason. And I don't know whether it was just different characters. I immediately just went, you know what, actually? I think I know what it was. It was the episodic release. I think it got launched, and I told myself I'll buy it. And then 2 months in, we were still only up to episode 3, and I thought, I'm holding out till they're all available. And then it just passed me by because of the time it took.
I think that's what got me my first attempt to play, where I played through like the first 2 episodes, and then it's like, well, I have to wait another like 4 months before episode 3 is like, am I going to be playing this game over like 2 years or something?
It's a bad business model that doesn't really work.
Well,
so
I like the episodic structure, but I think it's like I'd rather wait for it all to be the same time.
Exactly. Unless it's exciting, crazy DLC, which we also had the announcement for Destiny 2, which did actually feature at Gamescom and actually confused you and me for a little bit, and Rob, because we were all watching it thinking, it's futuristic, it's sci-fi, it's got a kind of like neon art style, they look like Space Marines, what is it? And then it revealed at the end it come out as Destiny 2's Lightfall expansion that's coming next February. And it was kind of, as soon as you knew it was Destiny, it was almost a penny drop moment of course it's Destiny.
Yeah.
But there was just something about the aesthetics of this one that just didn't look traditional Destiny.
Yeah, it looks different to Destiny, and because like Gamescom was largely focused on new IP, I think we're in that kind of mindset. Oh, what is this?
It's brand new.
So it was like there was moments like, is this? I did think, is this Destiny? I didn't say anything. It's like, oh, no, I won't. It can't be Destiny. It doesn't look like Destiny. I'm just being stupid. You just throwing like random sci-fi.
See what sticks.
A random sci-fi IP at Richie, so I didn't say anything.
They do look like Space Marines though in the trailer. They really do. But yes, either way, Lightfall, initially announced back in 2020, it will be Destiny's penultimate expansion coming between this year's Witch Queen and the game's final expansion, The Final Shape. As such, Bungie is calling it the beginning of the end, and it continues an escalating narrative that will bring Destiny's Light and Darkness saga to a close. It finally gives a name and a face to Destiny's 2 much-teased big bad, The Witness, and will take players to the Neptune's capital city, the gleaming metropolis, and thanks to Callus's Shadow Legion, now Cabal-occupied territory, and players will need to deal with their new pyramid-enhanced tech, including suppression devices which can diminish Guardian's abilities, plus a new pyramid unit known as the Tormentor. We have a few friends who are big Destiny fans, absolutely hyped for this. It's crazy to think it's coming to an end, because Bungie have supported Destiny for so long. It's kind of like, obviously we're expecting a Destiny 3 announcement in the next year or so, but geez.
I think it's got to the point where Destiny, when we've jumped back into play, is very difficult to understand. There's so much lore there, there's so much, there's so many expansions, so when you kind of just... You play through the tutorial, which is great. Fine, it's great, good fun. The game is great fun. But then when you kind of get, I'm off the tutorial, it's like, there's just so much. And you don't have, it's difficult to figure out where to go, what to do. And it's like, I've never liked like the whole MMO thing where people just say, just get a friend to boost you through it. I was like, but then I'm missing all the content.
Yeah.
Like,
then you just feel like a spare part at that point as well. Like getting dragged through mission after mission to just XP yourself up to a point where you actually become useful again.
I feel the world is ready for Destiny 3, so finish off the story you're telling through Destiny 2 with The Witness. And then you can start clean with Destiny 3, so everyone's back to square one. You can reinvent the mechanics a bit. You can give it that, okay, here we're going to do Destiny again. Destiny 3, here you go.
Yeah, and don't call it Destiny 3. Just call it Destiny, insert word. So it can be a games as a service forever, and you never have to make another iteration. That's what I would like to see.
I'd be okay if they go like, it's going to be Destiny 3, we're going to support it for another 10 years. And then after that, we'll probably do a Destiny 4.
Yeah, I mean, either could work.
We're planning to tell like the story over 10 years with like every year we'll bring out a new expansion, and then after the 10th year we kind of kill it and we'll move on to the next one.
See, I think Bungie just wanted to be in like an ever-present games as a service to rival things like Apex and stuff, but I guess we'll not have to wait too long to find out. It's Destiny's one of those games I absolutely appreciate from afar. I think it's fantastic. It plays well. It's fun. The lore, the world, the kind of people who bought into it definitely got their money's worth from this game. And it's I'd love to see worlds like this.
Yeah, I just choose not to get invested in MMOs because like I'd never.
We wouldn't have the show, Richie, if we were both deep invested in MMOs. We just wouldn't have the time to do it because we'd be doing a raid right now. It's Friday night. We'd be having some beers. We'd be 4 or 5 hours into a raid, and we'd rather bring you this wonderful podcast. So, rounding this show out in particular, Samsung unleashed a new list of gaming monitors this week. Now, we won't rest on this topic that much because we've actually got an episode of CloudQuest we're going to go away and record. Samsung have revealed some new gaming monitors, and funnily enough, they come pre-installed with the Samsung Gaming Hub built in. So that means if you pick up a new Samsung gaming monitor, not only will you have the fantastic quality of Samsung backing up your display, but also you'll have access to Xbox Cloud Gaming, Amazon Luna, Nvidia's GeForce Now, a bunch of others, and of course Google Stadia. So even if your powerful PC that's plugged into it is obviously capable of playing these games, you can now just crank it up and switch over to the Samsung Gaming Hub and enjoy cloud gaming. We have seen this, Richie, of course, on the Samsung 2022 TVs. However, it's an interesting move, putting it built into the gaming monitors. What are your thoughts on this one? Just quickly, because I want to make this a CloudQuest topic, but tease people.
It depends on the price. If you're throwing more stuff into a monitor, you might price people out of the market for the sort of people who might actually benefit from it.
I mean, it's just software. I don't feel like it's going to massively
It's got to have some hardware to run it. Like, one of the advantages of monitors is they are compared to TVs, they are kind of stripped back a bit. So
yeah, I mean, the Samsung Odyssey monitors, though, they're not the cheapest ones anyway, so they're already kind of at a premium price point.
Yeah.
And I will ask, have you seen the Odyssey Arc?
Yes.
Jesus, it's like a sunbathing hammock, but it's a monitor. But
the problem is I'd have to have at least two of them.
Yeah, but either way,
I know some people like ultra wides and get away with one monitor. I need two at least.
Yeah, either way.
I like to have that clear separation of a monitor.
There was quite a lot of the Samsung Gaming Hub actually on showcase at Gamescom on the actual show floor. I watched a couple of videos from IGN actually showcasing Game Pass running on it, and they were using a PlayStation DualSense to play Grounded. They jumped into and played Grounded on it, and then he showed a Flight Simulator run on it as well. And it's kind of like, I think the wider world is starting to embrace cloud gaming a little bit more, and once we start seeing at these press events, this is kind of what we expected Stadia to do, and then they never had a physical presence because COVID happened, lockdown happened, and again, it was running perfectly fine on the show floor, and I think more people will get their eyes on the accessibility of how this works. And with this week's PlayStation news that the PS5 is going to go up in price by £30 goddamn pounds, cloud gaming becomes more affordable and more accessible than ever before. But we're going to go away and talk about all that, I think, on CloudQuest this week. It's got a juicy episode lined up talking about cloud gaming TVs and the impact they're having on the console wars and console gaming as a whole. If you are a Helix hero, you can get that up to 6 days early for subscribing to our Helix Hero plan from as little as 99p. Of course, we do have multiple different tiers, so we'd appreciate your support on any of those. And you get access to that and Talking the Piss. That's the first time I've made that mistake, even though it's obviously jokingly titled Talking the PS off the back of that word. We're going to go away, talk about all that. You'll get it early. Stickers, badges next to your name, exclusive chat, all that kind of jazz for supporting us. But yes, CloudQuest, episode 82? 82. Ooh, on the road to 100. And as I said, we'll reveal more plans for our Helix Cloud Games celebration for our 3-year anniversary on next week's show. But that's been it for episode 153. Thank you very much to my lovely co-host for joining me. Thank you very much to you folks out there watching along. If you haven't done so already, do click like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the content we do here at Helix Cloud Games. But that's been it. You can find me at CyberChris2077. You can find Richie at
Richie C89.
We've been Helix Cloud Games, bringing you the Sounds of Stadia podcast. Have a great week, everybody, and play wherever makes you the happiest. Take care. Goodbye.
Bye.